Yay! I think it's sending you an invitation. Yay!
Hey, I got you.
Yay! How are you?
Doing fine. I couldn't find you anywhere, so I'm
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm glad you found us.
I'm so glad we finally got each other. Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay, so y'all, Johanna is so sweet. I had reached out to her and asked if she'd be willing to do this to help educate all of us together as a community here on my Conscious Beauties page. And she was really honest and just said, I've never done something like that, but I'm open to learning. So I so
Well,
appreciate you being so gracious and patient with us. And we're excited you're here.
yeah,
Yay!
yeah, I'm glad to.
So I kind of stumbled upon information about thermography. I was telling the ladies on here through my friend Dr. Carol, and it really piqued my interest. And the things that really caught my attention about it personally for me and my own health journey are the fact that it's non-invasive. From what I've read, I can tell that you can detect things in your body health-wise much sooner, like literally years sooner than you can from things like x-rays and other medical procedures that we tend to do in our Western world over here.
Correct.
And it was new to me, but I was shocked when I found out that it is not necessarily a new technology, especially here in the North Texas and the DFW area. So I am just excited to learn. And so let's jump on in. So I let all the ladies know that we have kind of an interview style. I'm going to ask you some
Sure.
questions, and then at the end we'll open it up for any questions they have. Does that sound good?
Sounds great to me.
Perfect. Okay. So first and foremost, like, can you give us a basic explanation of what thermography is? So if someone has never heard of it, has no clue what we're talking about, what is thermography?
Thermography is really measuring the heat in your body. So there's a particular device that touches the skin and uses the acupuncture meridian points to measure the heat in the body because our body is a live being and
Right.
it creates heat. And when there's an infection or inflammation, there's more heat because the body has to heal. So with thermography, we're going through 122 points on the body, including the teeth, to find out where is the heat, where are we storing the heat, because then we know there's something going on there.
Right. Okay. So super interesting. So it's based on taking temperatures of the whole body. How many different points does it take a temperature?
In total, 122 points. We're doing everything
Okay.
because every tooth is related to an organ. So the problem
Yes.
is in your teeth or it's in your organ. So we're
Yeah.
going to do that. And then we're going to go over the whole body from the head, the sinuses, to all the lymphatic points, your liver, your colon, your intestine, everything.
Awesome. Yes. And I know that was interesting to me. I could not have even told you. My degree, my background is in music, so
Uh-huh,
we'll focus
uh-huh.
with that.
My daughter,
But
same thing.
it
Yeah,
fascinated me just to know that our organs and our bodies should have a certain temperature and that it's not all the same. Is that right?
that's correct. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So like you said, when you see that maybe one is warmer than maybe what a healthy base is, then what kind of information does that tell us?
It can tell us if you have an infection. That can tell us there's maybe a virus hanging around, or there's something going on what doesn't belong there, and it can be really anything. Uh,
Right.
it's just when it's there for a long period of time, that's when we start creating tumors and all different kind of things because the
Right.
body is not healing itself.
Yeah. And also it can be a signifier of inflammation, right?
Exactly,
Which
exactly.
we're learning. I mean, it's all over the news everywhere that inflammation is the beginning of.
That's what I'm watching.
Hold on, Avery. It's the beginning of most diseases, right?
Yeah, it's almost all diseases start with some
Right.
kind of inflammation. And depending on where it is, how long it is, and how your body is trying to heal it, depends on what's going on. If
Right.
Lyme's disease is some kind of a virus what creates heat, what creates different areas in your body so that you can see there's something going on there.
Gotcha. Um, so I'm curious, how did you get into thermography and how did you stumble upon it and get started doing scans and offering them to other people? Can you kind of tell us your story?
Yeah, I'm an original nurse, so I've been in the healing field for a long time. And about 30 years ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And that's when really was my breaking point that I started to learn from, hey, why do I have cancer and why nobody in my family? And I went into the alternative route of finding what's going on. So I did kind of a treatment, more or less, that is available and experienced it. And I had done a mammogram years and years ago. And then I found out they had thermogram because you don't use any radiation. It's not harmful to the body. And so I started it about 10 to 15 years ago. And they had the beginning kind of thermography. It was not as advanced as they have right now. When they came up with that new program, that's a really were very interested. I knew I could help a lot of people. So I started to do this about 5 years ago.
Wow, so cool. Were you here? Were your first scans here in the DFW area, or where were you when you first?
Yeah, it was DFW area, yes.
Hold on a second.
That's okay. I'll blow it up.
Well, and so that's amazing to see that I'm assuming, are you in remission from your cancer and you've been able, can you do scans on your own body?
Yes, I can.
It's a little hard, simple, right? Once you're trained.
Yeah, when you're trained, it's easy to do. The hard part is to do your kidney in the back, so you have to put your hand backwards and to do that. But you have to stand in front of the mirror so you can do it. You can see the points there. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really helped me to heal my body because I could see how much inflammation I had in my system. It was like 80% inflamed. And it took me like 5 years to get now to a point that it's acceptable. I mean, we're always having infections and inflammation, but you need to pinpoint that you can control it. And I'm at that point now that I can control it.
Okay. I'm so curious. Would you mind sharing a little bit more about so when you have found those spots in your body and been able to pinpoint through your thermograms and the scans that you're doing, so you've been able to pinpoint exactly where the inflammation is in your body, right?
Yes.
So then what have you done? Has it been a dietary change, or how do you address that?
Yeah.
Then what do you do going forward?
A major dietary change, letting go of all the carbs and the glutens, exercise, a lot more exercise, stress release, vitamins and minerals, all these things all combined together because one is not going to do it. You need to do a combination of things.
Right.
And do that and being outside, being in nature, checking up your body, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and listen to your body. That's really the main thing. If you don't listen to the body, you're eating the wrong things. Like when I really crave a chocolate chip cookie, I know I have too much inflammation. So I need to stop doing that. So what you crave is usually what you don't need.
Oh, interesting.
Huh?
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, until you get to a point that you look at a cookie, it's like, oh, I don't want it anymore. Then you're on the right track.
Then you know that your body's getting back to where how it was created to be.
That's right.
Not craving junk and
yeah, and then once in a while you can take a cookie and you know the consequences. Then you do something else the next couple of days to balance that out again.
Eat all your veggies and work out. I'll have to say that's really hard to hear at the holidays around the corner. La la la.
I know. Oh,
I love baking. Yes. No, that's great information. Okay, so tell us, how does a scan work? Like if I was to make an appointment to come see you, Johanna, what would I expect? Like what does that actually look like to get your body scanned?
Okay, when you make an appointment, I'm sending you an instruction list and that says no exercise before you come over because we don't want to heat the body up before. Okay.
You don't want an abnormal temperature, right?
No. Okay. It needs to be between 10 and 2 o'clock because that's the body's normal temperature. After 2 o'clock, the temperature rises. Like a child, around 5 o'clock, the heat the fever gets always higher. So you want to do it before 2 o'clock. And when they come in here, we're going to take all the measurements, what we need to do ahead of time. And then we're going to help to scan the body with a wand, a special wand I use on the skin, and measures the whole body, every point. Yeah.
Okay.
Then asking you to undress and only keep your underwear on and stay in a cooled environment where we are at a particular temperature for 10 minutes. The body cools down. It goes in a fight or flight. That's a normal reaction. Yeah. Except the heat will all go to the head, except where you have inflammation, infection, tumors. The heat will stay there.
Huh.
Depending on how much heat is still there, the doctor can see what's going on.
Very, very interesting. Okay. And you said undress down to your underwear, which makes sense. I mean, that's kind of normal in the medical profession when you have to do, I know when I've been to the dermatologist before. So are you the only one who's in the room, or is there someone else? Do you have an assistant or anyone?
No. I'm
just you.
Okay.
It's
very private. It is very secure. The windows, everything is closed. So no, you don't have to worry about it. It is the hardest part to stand for 10 minutes only in your underwear. That's the hardest part of the whole weekend. Really. So I have some music going and have some magazines that they can start reading while they stand there.
Well, and so the 10 minutes is you're waiting for your temperature to just naturally drop, right?
Exactly.
Very, very cool. Okay. So tell us why we need a thermogram. So maybe someone already has pinpointed a health reason, or maybe they have a mammogram coming up and they already know that they want to do a thermogram instead. But maybe someone is healthy and doesn't have any symptoms that they have pinpointed in their body yet. Why would someone need to come have a thermogram?
It's really good to have it as a baseline to find out your health. Where are you? Where do you start? Because it can pinpoint where the problem is in your body. The nice part about it is also at the result that you get a result how you can do it alternatively and how you can do it medically. So there's two different options of treatment afterwards, and you can decide which way you want to go. But for me, it was the most important that I can find out, okay, here's my problem. This is what I need to do about it. And if I do that for a couple months, I will get better. And that's really what you want.
Okay.
You want to have a healthy life body.
And doesn't it also, it can tell like your dental health too? That's related also to your whole physical health.
Exactly. That's what I said before. Every tooth is related to an organ. The problem is in your teeth, or it's in the organ. The teeth is really easy to figure out. You go to a dentist, you check if you have a cavity. There's no cavity. Okay, we know it's the organ that's the problem. And so then you start working with that. Most of the times it's always related to a lymphatic system. Okay. And if we can clear our lymphatic system, we clear up 50% of all the problems right away.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And so I know we kind of touched on organs have a base temperature that they should be in the healthy body, right? Mm-hmm. So when we do the scan, you're first scanning our body for whatever our natural resting temperature is. Right. Then, you stand for 10 minutes and the body cools and you take another temperature, and we're comparing that. So we talked about when organs in our bodies are hot or warmer, that shows us that our body's trying to fight something there, or there's inflammation. Exactly. What happens when, like if you have a cold stomach, like if something is colder than it should be, what does that tell you?
When it's colder, then it means that it's not doing anything. It's sluggish. It's not working at all. Yeah. So you need something to heat up, and then you can do it like those warm compresses to heat up. Sometimes it's enzyme deficiency because the body's not breaking down. The biggest problem is ice water, because it's very bad to drink ice water because it cools your whole body down unnaturally. Your body cannot digest the food that way, because the enzymes don't work in ice.
Yeah. I did not know that. I don't really care for ice water. That makes me feel like a normal person now.
It's an American thing, ice in America. Nowhere in the world they use ice except in America.
Very interesting. So, it's because we live in Texas too. Okay, I understand it come August.
Part of it here, yeah.
That's very interesting. So when an organ is colder than it should be, then your body isn't working. So like if something were to attack that area and that's a cold organ, then your body's kind of in trouble, right?
Correct.
Because it's kind of given up on
Yeah.
helping heal or correct or move away or detox out the problem, right?
Exactly.
So hot isn't just what we're looking for. We're looking at things that are too warm or also too cold. Basically, things that are not Goldilocks, like not the right temperature, right?
That's why we do the two measurements, when you're warm and when you cool down, and so we can see, did it warm up or did it not warm up in the brain or in the stomach? That got it colder than it was already before.
Gotcha.
If it's colder, then we know there's something really going on.
Very interesting. I love this. You are so knowledgeable, and I'm so grateful you're here to tell us all the things.
I love that.
I hope you guys are making a list of questions if you have them, because we're almost at question point. But real quick, I had told these ladies on here that when I first was introduced to thermography, I had learned about a center in Dallas, and I'm just so thrilled that you're in my backyard. You're way closer to the center in Dallas, and nothing against the center in Dallas. They're doing great things. I know that they also will train anybody who wants to be trained to read these scans. So if you know a doctor or a chiropractor who wants to learn and start offering these things in their office, I know the center in Dallas will train them for free, which I think is amazing. But I do have to say their price point was a little bit higher than I had hoped in my budget. And I know that the way that it worked at the Dallas Center is you would go in for your scan, you'd make your appointment, you'd go in for your scan, and then you would leave. And on your way out the door, they would ask, who would you like for us to send your scan to? And they would be sending it to either a holistic doctor, because if you just send it to your regular primary doctor, they probably are not trained to read the scan. It has to be sent to someone who's trained to read it. And I kind of made this analogy. It's just like if you got an MRI or an X-ray. They don't just hand it to you and expect you to know what's wrong with your body or what to do next. It's very much the same in that way. However, at the Dallas Center, you would leave, you paid the $400 to $500 or whatever for your scan. Then you would leave and you would end up paying to see, maybe your chiropractor is trained to read the scan. So then you pay for their time, which is also valuable, to go over your scan with you. It's very diagnostic. I can't say that word right now.
Yes,
thank you. And would pinpoint areas in your body that you need to be starting to focus on health-wise and whatnot. But so that's kind of how the cost worked there with the Dallas Center. Can you explain to us kind of the cost, what it would kind of, what the expense would look like to come and see you for a scan? And I know people have already asked me if insurance covers it, and I've kind of heard things both ways. So can you kind of talk to us about that for a few minutes?
Sure. And when people come here, they do the scan first, and then of course after you get your payment. My price is $285, not $400. It's $285. Watching the video, I'll give a $50 discount on them, so it's going to be $235.
Did y'all hear that? Whoa!
Yeah.
That's a surprise to me. How awesome! So if you're watching the video and you decide to schedule with Johanna, that's a $50 discount that you'll get. Amazing! You're so sweet.
Also, the report, when I get the report in, I go over it with the person. No extra charge involved in that.
Is it that day, or is it?
No, it's about a week before I get the report in, because it goes to the doctor, and the doctor sent the report back to me, and then I'll give them a copy of one of the doctors, and send a copy to the doctor, whatever they want. Again, most doctors don't know how to read it, and that's why I take the time to go over it with the person so that they can understand it. And I'll give them recommendation, what the doctor says for recommendation, what I think would be a good recommendation to follow up with what they need to do. Is it health-wise, diet change, vitamins, or seeing a doctor, or maybe still need to do an MRI or an ultrasound, because sometimes that happens too. When we find something, we may have to send them to a doctor. Sometimes they have to do an MRI of a mammogram also, because we think it's better that way. So whatever, because it's not taking away the mammogram. Both of them are very valuable. Only the mammogram uses a lot of radiation. Well, thermogram doesn't, and that's why I promoted the thermogram.
Okay, awesome. That is very, very helpful. And I know oftentimes I've heard that insurance does not cover. However, you can totally call your insurance. I have heard of a couple of ladies who have had theirs covered. So when you call your insurance, I think the proper, and correct me if I'm wrong, Johanna, but I think the proper verbiage to use is just say, hi, I just want to check in and see if a diagnostic thermogram or thermal scan would be covered by my insurance. Okay. And the ladies who have had it covered that I have heard from, it has been when it has been ordered by their doctor, you know, obviously something that's ordered versus just of your own accord tends to be covered. There was one other lady that I heard of that hers was covered, but she was very persistent. I think she filed it with her insurance 8 times. And then they finally accepted. Second.
If you have had breast issues, there's a higher chance that they cover it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Great.
So that's an option also. Yeah. There's a code that I give you, or that I give the clients, that they can use and submit to the insurance.
And that's more helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Very good. Okay. So let's open it up for some questions. Thank you, Wendy. I see your sweet compliment. She's complimenting my earrings. These are Noonday, which is awesome. Also has a great cause and benefits. Let me scroll back up for a second and see if I missed anything along the way. I know we have several ladies on here live, and I know that there are more who are excited to catch this replay when they're home from work and whatnot. So, but yeah, those of you who are local, my local friends on here, Johanna's office is in Denton. Where exactly are you in Denton?
It's on University Drive, just across from TW. It's a white house with a red trim.
Oh, it's in a little house.
It's a little house. It's an old house that's converted into a wellness center.
Very cool. That is a hop and a skip away from me. I'm down here in Aubrey, so I'm not too far. So we'll give everyone just another minute or two. So any questions, let us know. If you missed, once again, Johanna has a special pricing for you guys. So if you want to schedule an appointment, what's the best way to do that, Johanna, if they do want to schedule an appointment with you?
They can go online, or they can give a call at 940-380-8728.
Okay, and just mention that you were on the Facebook video training that she did, and she said she's happy to offer extend a discount. $50. $50, was that what it was?
$50 discount, yes.
Correct. That is a nice discount. All right, Angie has said we'll definitely be making an appointment right away. Thank you, ladies. Oh, you're so welcome.
And men doing a thermogram too. I do a lot of men also, and they are automatic already $50 discount. So they get $50 off.
Yes, and there are lots of reasons to do a scan like we talked about on here today. It can be an early detection for many diseases. And what about cancer? We didn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
But you are in remission from cancer. So can you speak to that for a second before we say goodbye?
Cancer is really a lymphatic overload. So we don't really look for cancer. We look for how the body's functioning. And by the way that it's functioning, we can see if there's a tendency to get cancer, or if there's something going on that should be looked after.
Okay, and that's by looking at inflammation, and isn't it also the way that the vessels are forming, if they're not symmetrical and things like that?
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it, because everybody is different again.
Okay.
We really look from where is there energetically a blockage, so that the flow is not there, because if there's no flow there, then you know that you're going to collect something there. So we're looking at those kind of things. If there's a blockage somewhere, if there is a stagnation somewhere, if there's too much there, we're looking at really how the body's functioning versus this is going on, that's going on.
Gotcha. Okay, that's helpful. We do have another question on here, Johanna, real quick. So Dee's asking, if you're sick, like if you have a cold, should you wait until you're better to do a scan, like come when you're fully healthy?
Depends on how bad the cold is. If it's just a basic sinus infection, come on in, because it will show up on the skin that there is a sinus infection, but it also relates to where is it coming from. Is it coming from the intestine, or is it coming from your liver? You know, you need to find out where it's coming from, because most people have sinus and allergy issues.
Right.
So if it's really bad that you start dripping and so on, yes, wait until the worst is gone, because we already know what's going on. And we don't infect anybody else. So
that's a great question, though,
yeah.
Dee. I had not thought of that. Thanks for asking that. All right. Anyone else have a question real quick before we wrap up? Obviously, if you're catching the replay and you have a question, put it on here. Johanna is part of our Conscious Beauties page, and I'm sure we'll be happy to get back to all of us. And I see, you know, that the number is posted right here for anyone who wants to schedule an appointment that is here local. Real quick, I think the last thing I can think of, Johanna, for the ladies who are watching this who are not local, maybe they don't live in Texas or they're way in South Texas, what do you recommend for them?
There are thermographies all over the US, so you just may have to travel a little bit more. I have people coming from different places that come down here because they know it's being done here. They go to Austin or anywhere else.
Okay, so they could travel, but do you have any recommendations? Are you linked with other, you know, doctors or women who offer the scans elsewhere?
No, not really. I mean, I can find out with the organization who provide all the programs. If there's somebody, I look for somebody in that city, and I can ask and say if there's anybody there, and I can recommend them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well,
Sure.
thank you so much for your
You're
time today
welcome.
and your knowledge. I so appreciate it. And I know the women on here you have definitely blessed. So thank you again. Y'all make sure you make your appointment. If you're ready, give the call to her 940, her Denton number. And thank you. That was so gracious of you to extend that special discount too. I had no clue you were doing that. So fun.
Thank you so much for inviting me up to talk about it. It's a great thing.
You're welcome. All right. Everyone have a good Thursday. All right.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye.